everyone, in the previous video I showed and demonstrated the features and technology behind the Quiz Up game. In this video instead I'm gonna show you how I built it from scratch. Yeah, so let's go here. I'm gonna show you like from the basic and of course like the disclaimer of this video is that long project. I recommend you to watch like some part of the video and maybe like replay in other days as well. Because I know that it's also difficult just to be focused for the whole project the whole time. So yeah, or Windows, because like my computer is Windows, but of course you can choose if you want to download it with Mac or Linux or etc etc. So once you download it, of course you're gonna go to download and you have to install basically Node.js. So it's gonna take like 3 minutes. So what we're gonna do is now to create a project with Node.js, and it's actually very easy to do. So if we go to a folder or a directory, so let's jump here like desktop, and we're gonna use the command npx. So what does npx? Npx basically take the commands, use the commands from Node.js module and reuse it basically without installing in the system. So if we go here, it's like npx create React, create React app, and then here we're gonna write like the name of the app, and let's do quiz. So what we're gonna do now is basically create this project. So basically Node.js will create like a schema for this project. So it will take, I will create app.js, it will take all the modules installed and it will place it like in a folder. So another thing that we have to know is like there is like two different commands, is npx and npm. npm basically install a module, and then like of course you can use it. npx basically execute it and run that command without installing. So that's like just like few things that I wanted to share you guys. So it's gonna take like few minutes, so don't worry guys. Basically here we have also suggestions about the commands that we can use. So here we have change directory command, change the directory command and npm start. So if we run this program, if we run this command, we basically change directory. What we can do with cmd, that's just like an introduction of command line. For example, if we do change directory ... in that case like we go to the previous directory, but of course like we're not gonna need to go like in desktop directory. So now we are in the directory of quiz, and here it's npm start, like as I announced it before, like npm basically is one of the commands of Node.js. So we're gonna start, and we're gonna notice also that this project, this website, is gonna run locally. So it's gonna be like localhost 3000. So that's like the localhost that we are gonna see. So if we go here, we see like edit source is like this directory and app.js, and save to reload. So basically here app.js is the file that we're gonna edit the most, and we're gonna add functionalities and images if we want to do like more like cool and yeah, because basically like other kind of folders and repositories are not like so important. So here of course we're gonna see like logo of React, so we're not gonna need it. We can cancel, like we can delete some files. This one is like app.js. That's if we open it with Visual Code Studio, which is like a really useful program, and that's like for free. Yes, we're gonna see here and import logo, and that's like basically what we read before. Yeah, so what we need to do now is to edit this page. We can basically add a form. You can basically write like different kind of stuff. So let's do this. And here, of course, like we're gonna delete those files that actually we don't need. So we can start from app test, index CSS, logo, report, web details, setup text. So basically these 5 files, we can just like delete it. What we need now is basically having like some components for the Quiz App game. So we need to create a new folder, and we can just like nominate components. So in this component here, we're gonna add like a background video, because of course, like if we want to do like just something more fancy, like structured and stuff, like we can just add a background video. Also like a question card, like in this case we can just choose like which kind of questions we want to be asked, the result that show us like the score, the settings, etc, etc, because the settings you can choose also the difficulty and the quiz as well. So let's go here and we can just like create like new files, and we can just nominate it quiz.js. It will be still like a text document, but no worries, like we can just like change it later on. And here we can just like question card, result, settings, and background video that is gonna be like a CSS file. Background video .css. So once we do this, we can just open up our app.js over here. Oh, sorry. So now we have the same code that we were basically watching later, and of course, like we can adjust this code basically with our new file, like with our new components. So we have to also import with app.js like all the files that they're gonna be like the background video, the settings and stuff, and we're gonna implement it here on app.js. So of course, like now I'm gonna show you guys also like where can you take the API for we're gonna take actually the API for the trivia, so for the Quiz App game. So what's like an API? An API is basically a program that you integrate in another program. In this case, it's like the website of the Quiz App game. So I'm gonna share, of course, like in the description also like the link of the API and where should we paste it. So if we go here, we have basically generated API. So of course, like once we go to this trivia link, we have to click API, and then after that they're gonna ask you like if you want to generate a link. So here, of course, we can modify the number of the amount of questions. We can also select the category, difficulty, type, etc, etc. And of course we can just like go here and change it. We can change the amount, we can add like a type, and then of course I'm gonna show you guys how to do it. Well, okay, now basically we're gonna work on like the settings. From here we have also to add the link of the API, because that's how we can basically automatically give the user all the questions, and automatically you can choose like the number of questions, because what else you can do? You can just write it down, the questions, like put in a txt file, for example, or in an array of questions, and then you can just type the answer manually. But that's of course like a little, it takes more time, and also like you can do mistakes and And also like the question can be the exact same, so you have to add manually others and change it. So if we want to do like something more dynamic and funny, we can just like add an API and they have like thousands of questions and answers that you can get. So we're gonna start from the top, and we're gonna declare and import like the library of React. And here, sorry, we can just do React, sorry, from React, exactly. And of course we have to declare like the main function, which is settings. So what we're gonna do here is settings, and we can open the brackets, and over here. Another thing that we have to do is like to export this file, because without this command, which is export default settings, we're not gonna able to use this like in another file. So if we want to connect to app.js, which is like basically the controller or everything, we are not gonna be able to do that, because we need this command over here, like on the last row, yeah. So other thing that we have to do is like to put inside this functionality, which is set quit started, because if you guys remember, over here we have basically this constant which start with false. So basically the at the beginning, like the quits is not gonna start, but of course like this constant can be changed in true. So once we click on the button start game, we're gonna see of course like that this constants will change. So set quit started and set questions, and set question. Let's write it down here. So after we do this, we have of course to give them like a constant, which is the number of questions, also like the type of questions that we want to do, like the difficulty and stuff. So we have to create like two different constant, which is constant. In here we're gonna put like amount. Amount is basically the amount of questions, the category, and difficulty. Okay. And we also have to put like a command which is called like set amount, set difficulty, set category as well. We're gonna put it here like in the brackets. So if we go here, like set difficulty. Over here is like set category. Set amount, sorry. All right. So over here, of course, we can put like values. We can put like, for example, which kind of data we have to put here, and etc. etc. We have different types of like values that we can put here. And use state basically gives you like this command that I'm gonna use. Sorry, is the use state. Basically, it transforms like this constant to a variable. So what does it mean is, if like we start with the value 5, when we open like the website, we're gonna see the number 5, like the number of question is 5. But use state, what allows you to do is like to change this constant. So when you open the website, you're gonna see like a number of questions like 5, difficulty hard, general knowledge is like the category, so that's like the default basically data that you can of course change. So what we're gonna do here is to change like this value. We have use state, which is 9. 9 is basically general knowledge, because in this array of questions that we have, of the category that we have, basically every number is basically assigned to a category. Instead, we can just put use state easy. So when we're gonna like open up like the whole website, we're gonna see like easy. Okay, so now of course, like we need like a cycle that have to iterate for each questions that we have thanks to the API. So if we, for example, as I said before, create like a website with an array of questions or an array of answers that are right or wrong, we have to write it down manually. So instead of doing this, we can basically create like a fetching functionality, where basically is going to read all the questions based also on the difficulty and also based on the category. So we're going to try to do this, and we're going to fetch a question. Now we're here. All right. Now, as I said before, we are gonna take like a URL. So the URL is gonna be like the same that we were watching like in the previous clip of Trivia Crack. So we have basically the amount only, but we're gonna set that value. You're gonna set that value like in a different way. So we're gonna put like $, and then amount, and that's because we're gonna give this basically this value of the amount instead of type it manually. So it's gonna be like more dynamic. Let's go here. All right, yeah, now it works. Yeah, then we're gonna write category. We're gonna do the same thing now. We're gonna write $, and then over here category. So, and that's like makes everything more automatically. Like you are gonna take like this constant value in category. So if we want to add also as well like the difficulty, so we're gonna type difficulty, and then over here again difficulty. The editor is really like good for this thing, because it automatically will suggest you like to type like the value that you want to type. Type equal to multiple, yes. Okay. So the other step that we're gonna do is basically create like a fetching functionality. So of course, like we're gonna need actually a functionality that is gonna send like a request to the Trivia Crack API. So it's like an HTTP request. So what does this request is like to get these data, for example, the questions and the type of questions, the amount of questions. So that's actually what we're gonna need to do so. So we're gonna create like a constant. In this case, it's gonna be like const, and you're gonna nominate it res like the result, and then we're gonna write await. So basically await pauses this function like until the requests finish. So like until we're gonna click like start the quiz. So of course we're gonna wait the function that we're gonna get these data from the API. So other than that, we're gonna also write it down fetch err. Fetch, as we said before, basically is a function that gets like the data from the API, from a web. So the value of this HTTPS URL is this one. So we're gonna give like this functionality over here, because the program has to know like where you have to get like these data. So we have to store these responses. So if we want to do like a game where we at the end want to know, for example, well, I want to see my scores. I want to see how many questions did I reply correct and what I reply like wrongly. So we need to store this information in a JSON file. So with saying that, we need to create another constant that store this information like inside a JSON file. Okay, so we're gonna write it down here, const data, and it's like await. That's because like we're gonna write it down like the JSON file. All right, so we have to also convert like the response to the JSON, and that's why we write it down like this constant data. All right, so transform like the API data into like your own format. So it's like the data results is an array of objects from the API, like from, for example, like the number of questions, like the result of scores, etc., etc. So what we need is to create like a const formatted, and here we're gonna write data results map. Over here, we're gonna write it on Q. Basically, the dot map loops every questions and create like a new array. Basically, that iterates all the questions that we have been asked, and it creates like an array of these questions. The queue is like basically is an index that iterates for each questions inside the map. So it's like for each questions like object from the API, like one of the time. So gonna go here. So now, of course, like we're gonna make sure that we have to copy also like and iterate the incorrect answers. So we have to create also another constant about answers. Answers, sorry. And over here we have to create like an array of incorrect answers. Incorrect answers. So we have to create an array of incorrect answers that we have given, and plus we have to create also like a number of questions that we have to be asked from the computer as well. So what we're gonna do here is to write like the function math, and that's like floor. And over here with this functionality, basically we have with math random, basically you have returns like a decimal. It gives you like a decimal between 0 and 0.99999. Of course, what we're gonna do is basically give like to math random decimal number of 4. So because we need to answer basically like 4 questions. So we're gonna do here plus 4. Matfloor basically rounds everything to an integer. So if we have 0.9999 it's like multiplied by 4, it is going to give you like a decimal number. So math.floor is basically a functionality that rounds that number into an integer. It runs, for example, in excess. So if it's like 0.95 is going to be 1, or vice versa, it's going to be like 2, 3, 4 if you have something more than 50. Okay, so let's go on. We also have to write the answers. So like the incorrect answers is going to be like basically in random positions. So what we're gonna do, like in a quiz game, so we have 1 right answer, 3 are wrong. So we don't want to like put, for example, a precise order of incorrect answers. So what we're gonna do is basically like to divide all these incorrect answers in different positions. So you never know, like for example, if the answer C is the correct one or the last one is the correct one. So we're gonna just like splice it out. We're gonna just like change the orders. Answers. Let's like splice, and that's basically like give us like the possibility to just give the correct position, the correct answers, like in different position. So rand of course like is like a random number. So if we give like for example the number 4, in that case like we know where the correct answer is, so it's gonna be like too easy. And here we're gonna correct. Yes. So over here, of course, we have to return a value after we give them like the questions and all the functionalities we need. So what the program has to return is basically the questions, answers, and correct answer. And that's because like at the end we're gonna see the score, how many correct answers you have been given over a certain number of questions. So questions is like the text of the questions, answers are array basically of all the options you have, and correct is basically the string of correct answers you have been given. So we're gonna write it down here, a return function, return. You have also to remember that every time we write something in Node.js or JavaScript, we always have to finish like the command with comma. So it's like question. That says like correct answer. Perfect. So we have to store also data like in parent state and start the quits. So for example, this set question, I mean, we have to create like a functionality which is called set questions is formatted, set quit start equals to true, because of course, like if we press like a button and then we say, yeah, start the quits, but the quits started, like the Boolean value is still false, the quits is not gonna start. So of course we have to insert like a functionality that allows us to change this Boolean value. So it's gonna be like set questions equals to formatted, and set quits started, we're gonna give like true. So every time we have to start the quits, basically is gonna give like to app.js, basically to the controller or everything, like the value true. So it's gonna start. Over here, yeah, we have to give him basically like a label. So what does it mean? That it means that, for example, if we want to write it down, basically a schema of questions, in that case we have to give like a form of basically like number of questions, category, difficulty, and the button, basically start quits. And that's like an HTML code. So here we're gonna need like a div, and inside this div we can write like a title. And this title can be like quit settings. Over here I'm gonna put like another div as well. Inside of this we're gonna name like with a class name. Let's call it settings form. Instead of here we're gonna write it down like a label. So because like what a label does like is this text, it gives you like number of questions, and then you write it down basically an input where you can just it's like a menu that you can just press it. Number of questions over here, like we do input, that in HTML gives you like gives you basically a menu of things. So inside this input we're gonna write the type of this data that we want to give, and this in this case is numbers. Then we have to give like a minimum of questions, because of course like we don't want that you can give 0 as a value of number of questions, because otherwise you cannot do the test. So the minimum is gonna be 1, maximum, well, let's do, for example, 50. And over here is gonna be like value equals to over here, yeah, we have to give like the amount of questions. After that, also we have also to give another value as well, the number of inputs. Basically you can convert all these inputs from strings to numbers. since like we wrote it down like we wrote 1 and 5 like as strings. So this command is that I'm gonna type is gonna basically transform these strings in numbers as well. So on change, write e is basically an index, and here is set amount. All right. We have also to do like the same for the others. So we have to create like another label. In this case, is like other2. We're gonna call like category and difficulty. So yeah, over here, like of course, like the trivia crack has like different kind of numbers that are like associated with each kind of category, no? So for example, we have 9 general knowledge, 18 science computer, 23 history, 21 sports. So because we have like so many options. So as we said before, like the number 9 is basically assigned to the general knowledge. So what we're gonna do is to give all these values inside of this. So it's gonna be like select, and over here is like value, right? And over here we have the category, because the category is like the concept that we basically declared before. So we have on change e set category,
Other things that we can do now is basically like to download like a background video, because in this website, which is called Pexels, basically if you search it up like photos or videos, like they will automatically like give it to you. For example, if I write it down like quits, of course like you're gonna have different kind of videos or image, but let's do like for example quits game. Yeah, still nothing. But let's try, for example, I don't know, questions game. No idea. Well, yeah, I mean, there is like different kind of features that you can search it up. But I have mine here, so I will just like insert inside like my shared files. So of course, yeah, let's go here. We have components, and we have to go in this other way, in quits. So, of course, like here we have a public image, like a public folder, where we usually like put our like files, like logo, like the icon of the website, and also like the background video, the images and stuff. Well, let's do this. Let's see. Yeah, I downloaded already my quits game video, so like my background video. So I'm gonna just paste it here. So after we do this, we have, of course, to implement inside of the app.js, because that's like the file that manage everything. And how can we do it? Like, we can do it from the file background video that we imported from there, and then we just set a functionality that does, like, for example, the loop. So the video after like 3 seconds that is finished, it will restart again. So it's gonna do like a loop video. So the one thing that we have to do is to open up our VS Code, and from here, of course, we're gonna write it down. For example, import app CSS, because of course, like, we are gonna add as well. You're gonna add, of course, like some styles, and it's gonna be dot dot, and then it's gonna be app.css, or maybe it's this one. Very strange. So yeah, of course, yeah, let's go further. So the one thing that we have to do is like create also a constant here, and it's gonna be like const background video. This is basically, yeah, the syntax for JavaScript. Background video, sorry. So we're gonna open these brackets. So in these brackets, like, we have to explain basically what's gonna be inside. So of course, what we're gonna do here is to like import this video and tell this program also like to go like in repetition, like in loop. So of course, like, this is like a tag HTML that we're gonna insert inside here, and yeah, let's start. We have to put like a return statement, because that's basically what the program tells us to do. In every file that we have to export, I mean, if we want to make sure that this file CSS is gonna be inside of app.js, basically we have to write like a command which is written export background video. So it's gonna make sure that this video here like is gonna be exported and can be available as well. So another import that we have to put is import React from React, and the one thing, yeah, of course, was my mistake, because in here basically this background video would be like a JSX file and not like a CSS file, but we can renominate it. Basically, you can just use like a command line ren. You can write it down here. Basically, if you put ren and then the file name background video CSS, and then we can just write it down background video, and then of course like JSX, which is like the extension of the file. So if we just run out this command in the CMD, like, we can fix this. So once we do this CSS, I will make sure that this file is going to be closed, otherwise the the command is not gonna work. So if we go here, open file, let's go in components, background video. Yeah, now it works. What we can do now is to create like a tag HTML, like I said before. So the tag that we are gonna add is gonna be a video. Yes, it's gonna be a video. So we have to open up this tag here, and we have to put like some property inside. It's gonna be like autoplay, and autoplay basically like allows you to just like start it without you do something. So it's gonna you open up like you open up like the website, the quiz game, and automatically it's gonna start the video, the background video. And then here is gonna be like loop muted. Loop muted, it's because like we are not gonna add a sound, like a background sound. And the class name, that's because we have to add like an identification for this video. So if we want to do like some modifies in the app CSS, we can just assign this class name in app CSS, and we can just like add it from there. So that's the reason why we're gonna assign like a name for that, and that's like background video. And here we're gonna specify also the source, and that's because without specifying the source, of course, like the program will not be able to catch like this file. So we're gonna write source, and we are gonna use video mp4. Let's stay here. Yeah, let's do like video mp4. And of course, like, you're gonna add also the type, and that's like video / mp4. So of course, like what can happen if we don't specify this part? It can happen, for example, if the video is not an mp4 but is another like format of video. In that case, the website is not gonna show it up. That's because like we specify like a kind of file, type of file, which is different from the one that we declared inside here. So let's go in here. What we're gonna create now is basically the screen of the questions that we're gonna answer. So basically, like we need to create basically another screen. So if we go here, we have to create like a question card. So what we're gonna do is basically open this file over here. Yeah, question card. So first thing that we have to know is basically we have like 4 questions. So in one of these 4 questions, there is like the correct answer. So we're gonna do like the same thing, import React from React, and then like a function, and then question instant card. Gonna do this, and of course, like, we're gonna like export the default and like the class over here, so that of course like the app.js can basically use like this functionalities. So we go here and we have like the question, like an answer, the question index, and the total of questions that we have to answer. So we have question over here. Then of course we have to explain also like we also have to explain like you have to say also, yeah, there is like one correct question over here, and if we answer that question as well. So index. Total of questions as well. We're gonna close it like in a brackets. So after we do this,
we're gonna create like a constant. We can call it decode. So yes, we are gonna create also like a function that take like the the questions taken from the HTML file, so that the trivia crack link API, and they're gonna display basically in text over here. So let's go here and let's create the functionality. So now, of course, we're gonna show that we have to copy also like and the incorrect answers. So we have to again consult answer just, and over here we have to wait like we have to wait manually incorrect answers, incorrect answers. So we're going to have more again, and plus we have to create also like a number of questions that we have to from you as well. So what we're going to do here is to write that function math, and it's like for. And here, for this function, we have we have the number of decimal, use like decimal around 0.99. First, we're going to do is like this number of 4, so we're going to answer like 4 questions. So we're going to do here 4. Also, the ones everything here. So we have 0.99 like multiplied by 4. Yeah, it's going to be like this number. So that's not 4, it's unfortunately run that number here. And for example, yes, so it's like 0.9531. So that's like 2, 3, 4. If you have something more than 50. Okay, so let's go on. We also have to write the answers. So the incorrect answers, they're like basically in random digits. So what we're going to do like in 50. So we have 1 right answer, 3 wrong. So we don't want to like for example, as tutorial incorrect answers. So we're going to do like all these incorrect answers in digits. So we're going to like the answers easy right now. Last one is right now. So we're just like let's splice out. Here's like choose yours answers. Let's like splice. That's basically like give you the possibility to just give the correct answers like in different position. So random of course like a random number. So if you like number 4, it is like we know what the answer is. So it's going to be easy. And here we are correct. Yes. So over here, of course, you have to return value after we get back the question that will So what the program is returning is questions, answers, and correct answer. That's the idea of for questions again over a certain number of questions. So questions like the questions are basically all the options you have, and correct is the string of correct answers. Yeah, so we're going to write it down here. Our third function. Here. We also remember that we have something in JS, also we always have to finish like the comma. So it's like your question. This is like your correct answer. We're going to write it down here. Our third function. Here. We also remember that we have something in JS, also we always have to finish like the comma. So it's like your question. This is like your correct answer. So for example, this question, we have to be like useful. Question is important that we start equal to true. Because if we start then we have to but this started the value is equal, so it's not start. So first we have to insert like actually allows us to change this to 1. So we're going to set questions. And so set we started, we're going to give like true. So we have to start it basically. It's going to give us the value true, so it's going to start. Or here we have to begin basically like label. So what does it mean? It means that we want to write down basically of questions. And it gives us like a form of basically number of questions, heavily equal and about basic factors. So that's like HTML code. So here we need like a div. And inside this div we can write like this type of like settings. Over here, we're going to put another div as well. Inside this, we're going to name like a class name. Let's select settings for. So here, we're going to label. So we select a label, not like this text, gives us number of questions, and we're going to input for just number of questions. Over here, we're going to use like use here, and things. So inside this, we're going to write like this data table here, and this is these numbers. Then we have to give like a name of questions. Of course, like we don't want that. We can see what value of questions, otherwise you cannot do that. So you need to be 1 maximum, that's to, for example, 8. And over here, we're like equals to. Over here, we have like questions. Also, we have also to give number of the number of inputs. Basically, we can convert these inputs from strings to numbers. Since like we already know that we would modify strings, so this one is going to basically transform these numbers as well. So change. Right, e. Yes. Here's the down. Right. We have also to do the same for numbers. So we have to create a label. You see like 1, 2. We're going to call like 3. So what you like first, like the numbers are associated with each kind of so for example, we have 9 general knowledge, 18 science computer, and then each of so we have like so many options. So I'll just for the number needs to be scientific general knowledge. So what we're going to do is to give all these values inside it. So it's going to be like a select, and we're here like a value. Right. We're here like there is like we have to be basically declared before. So we have to change set category. So we're going to write down here on third function here. We also remember that we have something in JS, so we always have to finish like a comma. So it's like a question. This is like your correct answer. So for example, this section we have to make a section is different. Then we start equal to true. We have to then we and then but this started with the value is equal. So first we have to insert like actually allows us to change this to 1. So we're going to set questions. And so set it started. We're going to give like true. So we're going to start basically. It's going to be the value is equal to the value true. So you can start. Here we have to basically so that means that we want to write down the table of questions that you have like for all these number of questions every week and a lot of these goes like HTML code. So here we're like div and inside this div we can write like title. Inside we can make settings. Over here we're going to use all. Inside this we're going to name like a class. Let's call it settings for. So here we're going to so it's like a little box this text these are questions and we're going to number of questions. Here we're going to like this is anything. So just we're going to type this these and this is numbers. Then we have to be options. Of course, we want that. We need to example questions. Otherwise, we can't do that. So you need to be one maximum. We have to example it. And over here, like, here, you can see. For your like, questions. Project. Also, we have also to give number of number of things. You can convert these from strings numbers. Since like we were not keywords, five strings. So this is like is going to be transformed. These numbers also won't change. Right. So you see minus. Here's the note. Right. We also do like this for the label. You see that. 1, 2. We're going to like 3. So we're going to each of them. So for example, we have 919 sites here, and these reports to have so many. So I'm for number of knowledge. So what we do is to give all these values. So it's going to be like a set, and we're going to value. Right. We're going to do like the basic. Before, so we have change set category.
So of course, like the final step is going to be basically to take everything that we have program like settings, results, quiz.js, and basically we have to put everything over here, and that's actually the way to do that. And over here in app.js we have the quiz app, so we have the background video going on, and also like the types of questions. So over here, of course, we just use like the constant that we have declared in the other files. So this is it. And if you're interested like in this kind of videos, and you're interested like in tech and develop like this kind of project, like step by step by doing, just follow this channel and just like share these videos like to your friends. So the purpose of this content that I'm doing is basically like learn by doing. Like when you type like a code, even if it's a beginning a little bit difficult to understand, but it's really helpful because basically you learn by doing, by typing. Because I understand that if the AI can do like the whole project and just copy and paste, I know that can be like hard also to remember all these steps. So I hope that this video is gonna help you out, and I'm gonna of course like share other kind of projects. Unfortunately, it's gonna take some time because like to filming and to edit, of course, like it takes a lot of time, and yeah, so that's also the reason why it's gonna take long. So thanks for watching, and if you're interested like in this kind of videos, just share to your friend, and of course like just put a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.